Welcome to the Wealth Mindset with JD Garnier. Listen, I hope you had a productive week in your wealth creation journey. My goal is always to help you walk mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. To take the things that God has already given you and use those to create a life of purpose. But in wealth, it's more than just what you acquire. Wealth is who you become. You are the wealth. It's not your investments. It's not your real estate. It's not your business. You are the wealth. And before you have any of those things, you have a unique and specific set of talents, abilities, gifts, ideas, habits, disciplines, and inclinations. And those form the basis of everything that you do in life. And once you tap into that, you start to build wealth. Again, you are the wealth. Listen, thanks for people tuning in. Thanks for people liking my content. I appreciate all the shares, likes, and subscribes. But the message is simple. Right? We have to reclaim and retake our economic circumstances and our economic. Nobody is going to do it for us. And so the message for today is that the person that hurts you cannot heal. The person that hurts you cannot heal. If I cut you with a knife, the moment that knife pierces your skin, it becomes powerless in healing the wound. As sharp as it is, as dangerous as it is responsible for piercing your skin. But the moment it does that, it becomes powerless in healing the wound. Instead, what happens is your body replenishes itself. It restores itself. The blood regenerates. And the body starts the healing process from within. And so as dangerous as the knife is, as dangerous as the weapon is in hurting you, it has zero responsibility, zero accountability, and zero power to heal the wound. You heal from within. And if that's true with our body, it's also true with our mind and heart. And so if somebody hurts you, somebody betrays you, if someone hurts you in a way that affects you mentally or emotionally, the moment they commit that act, they're powerless. No amount of I'm sorry's, no amount of apologies can actually heal the wound that they started. Instead, what happens is your body, your mind, and your heart start the healing process from within. Your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, they replenish themselves, they restore themselves, they regenerate themselves from within. The person that hurts you cannot heal. Nothing that they can do can heal the wound. We have to heal ourselves. And so it's so many of us that are walking around this world, walking around this earth with hurt, with pain, with trauma, with things that people have done to us. And I guess a lot of times our hope, our expectation is that they need to do something to heal it. And that we need an apology, that we need closure. But most times you're not going to get that closure. Most times you're not going to get that apology because the person that hurts you cannot heal you. And even if you get it, even if they make an attempt to restore or replenish, they won't have the ability to do it. You have to heal from within. And so the reason why that message is so important is because nobody's going to come and fix you. Nobody's going to come and fix your circumstances. Nobody is going to come and fix the things that you've been. Even if they're responsible for it, even if they're the cause of it, the only way that you're going to change your circumstances is if you heal from it. Now, this sounds like an emotional message, right? This sounds like a message that makes sense for somebody dealing with something that they've dealt with in their life, whether it's trauma, whether it's emotional pain, whether it's something that they've dealt with or been through, um, whether it's a relationship, whether it's family. And it does apply there. The person that hurt you cannot heal. But why am I saying this for real? Why am I saying this for real? Well, much as this applies to our personal circumstances, it also applies to us as a community. Because it's a lot of hurt in our community. It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of unrepaired and unhealed relationships. And a lot of the talk at the top is how do we fix that, right? How do we repair that? How do we make amends or get redeemed from the things that we've gone through in our families, in our communities, and just in our culture, right? When I think about my own family, a lot of people don't know this about me. My uncle was a freedom, right? He suffered countless beatings and brutalities. There was a bounty on his head. He died at the age of 30 just from so many things that he had to suffer through. And that affects me emotionally because I didn't get a chance to meet him. I know his story, and every time I learn more about it brings back feelings of hurt and trauma. I had another relative, my great grandfather, who served life in prison for defending his family. Right, and so there are thousands and thousands and thousands of these stories, millions of suffering, of pain that we've endured in our families through our generations that a lot of times comes up and manifests itself in our life. And when it comes to changing a culture, when it comes to changing the circumstances of a culture and of a community, those past traumas and hurts are very relevant because if you don't deal with it, then you can't heal. And so, if the person that hurts you cannot heal, and that's true for us personally, that's true for the things that we go through, that's true for the things that we deal with in our own lives, right? If you've been hurt, if you've been betrayed, the person that hurt you can't heal. No matter how much they apologize, no matter what they do, they can't heal that. And if that's true for us personally, it's also true for us as a community. The person that hurt us, the people that hurt us, the groups of people that are responsible for the state of the Black community, they can't heal. They cannot heal. As much as they've done, as much power as they have to give us things, they can't heal. We have to heal from it. And why am I saying? Well, we all know that there's a racial wealth. Right? We know that there's a racial wealth. White families have an average net worth of about $185,000. Black families have an average net worth of $17,000. White families have an average median income of about $80,000. Black families have an average median income of about $25,000. There is a significant economic and financial disparity in our community. We all know the reasons for that. If we go back the last 400 years, if we go back the last 200 years, if we go back the last 40 years, we can attribute direct things that have been done to our communities that have contributed to our current economic circumstances. So take away slavery, right? Take away Jim Crow. Just look in the last 40 years, right? Things like redlining, things like COINTELPRO, which is an FBI task force. Things like the Iran-Contra scandal that directly contributed to the crack epidemic in our communities. Things like the '94 crime bill that put away millions and millions of Black males, right? I can go on and on and on about the things that have been done to our community that have us in the current circumstances that we're in. But the fact remains that the person that hurt you cannot heal. The person that hurt you cannot heal. And so if that fact is true, no amount of government stimulus, no amount of policy, No amount of rhetoric from a political standpoint is going to help or change our economic circumstances. It is impossible. Those same institutions, those same people are the cause of our pain. And the person that hurt you cannot heal you. And so while it's fine for us to lobby for us to push for us to demand change at the highest level, change in policy, right? Change in the structure, change in all of these circumstances. While it's right for us to push for that, that's not going to heal us. That is not going to heal us, right? And so we have to be able to not only understand that, but um, we have to be able to embrace that reality. Nobody's going to change our circumstances. Nobody's going to change our situation. Nobody's going to change what's going on. We have to be the catalyst. The person that hurt us can't heal. And this is what I will say. Politics can be the stimulus to black economics, but it can't be the substance. Politics can be the stimulus to black economics, but it cannot be the substance of it. The substance of it has to start with us. It has to start with our values. It has to start with how we interact with women. It has to start with how we treat women. It has to start with we prioritize. It has to start with how we spend our own dollars. It has to start with how we raise our own family. It has to start with the circumstances and situations that we put our own children in. Politics cannot be the stimulus. It cannot be politics can be the stimulus of black economics, but it can't be the substance. It can't be the source. I don't care what laws they pass. I don't care who they put in office. They will not be the substance of our change. The person that hurts you cannot be. And so the only way for us to truly change our economic circumstances is for us to change and heal. We got to change the way that we interact with one another. We have to change the way that we do business with one another. We have to change what we prioritize. We have to change what we value. We have to change the way what we spend on, what we spend our money on. It starts with us. It starts with our behaviors. Politics can contribute to that. It can stimulate that, but it can't heal. It cannot repair. And so any conversation about the black community and improving, in expanding, in changing our circumstances has to start with the things that we're doing on a daily basis. It has to start with that. It can't start at the top. It cannot start with who we need to vote. It cannot start with what policies need to be passed. It cannot start with who is in charge or who is the leader of our community. It has to start from within. And once we understand that, once we realize that, then we will not be as concerned with the decisions that are being made at the top, because we are healing, we are changing, we are replenishing ourselves from within. And then anything that they add to us, anything that they give us, is only going to stimulate what we've already created. And so the person that hurt you cannot heal you. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. And so, listen, man, there's a whole lot going on in this. There's a lot of divisiveness. There's a lot of. It's very unfortunate that the people that are currently in power are making the decisions. A lot of those things we cannot control. But just like the sharp knife that's responsible for the wound on your arm, once it pierces your skin, it has no power in healing the wound. The same thing applies with our community and our circle. We know who's responsible for what. We know who did what. We know what they did to our community. We know it's documented. But the person that hurt you cannot heal you. And so, man, no matter what has been done, no matter who is responsible, we're going to start the healing process. If we're going to truly change our conditions and circumstances in this country, it has to start from within. Because the person that hurt you cannot heal. That's my message, and I appreciate you tuning in to the Wealth Mindset with JD Garnier.